Well, hello, this is Matt DeSarl, a video editor and producer in Lawrence, Kansas, and this week I'm launching a video series. This video series will share experiences and advice from small business leaders and entrepreneurs as we go through this together. Today, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention recommends that for the next 8 weeks, organizers cancel or postpone in-person events that consist of 50 people or more throughout the United States. According to CNN, more than 6,500 people have died worldwide as a result of the virus. There are 8 confirmed cases here in Kansas. This is not a healthcare resource, and this video series will not pretend to be a doctor or plan to have medical professionals featured on the video series. Rather, this is an open conversation where we will curate stories and advice from business leaders and entrepreneurs focused on the small business response here in Lawrence, Kansas to the coronavirus epidemic in our community. In light of the new developments, interview guests will be recorded via video chat. Our first guest probably couldn't be more appropriate. It's Will Katz, director of the KU Small Business Development Center, and I say it's the most appropriate guest I can think of because the KU SBDC assists small businesses with free one-on-one advising services. And Will, why don't you kind of lead off here by letting folks know who may not be familiar with your work, what your role is?
Sure. I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center at KU, and basically our role is to provide advising services for small businesses. The statistics show over and over, year after year, that one of the main critical success factors for business owners is simple. Do they have somebody that they can talk to about their business? So we provide them with a pretty wide variety of tools, things like market analysis and assistance with writing business plans and accessing capital. It could be just about anything. And so I believe if we're performing our role as a trusted advisors well, then what happens in difficult times like these is that, wow, a whole heck of a lot of people reach out and would like to talk to us and get some information.
And thank you so much for joining us today on last minute circumstances, and kind of case in point, you coming, answering the call right away as myself, a small business owner, reached out to you tonight. So one of the catalysts for our discussion tonight is a letter that the Lawrence Chamber of Commerce has sent out to small businesses, local companies here in Lawrence, and credit to them for creating a resource here right away, right as the pandemic was announced internationally, and then nationally, a national emergency. The Lawrence Chamber doing a great job curating resources, and within that was a note from you. Can you maybe kind of catch folks up to speed with some of the main bullet points there, some of the thoughts you wanted to extend to small businesses and entrepreneurs as they're sort of in this very fluid situation?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and as you say, kudos to the chamber for getting something like that up there and available for people to look at. I think, as we see in our office every day, a lot of small business owners are doing this for the first time, and they may or they may not have somebody in their family who's an entrepreneur and somebody to reach out to. And when times get really strange, like they are right now, I think it's helpful just for people to understand, like, this is unprecedented. Like, there's no easy playbook to work from. They are not crazy. They're just facing a really difficult set of challenges right now as small business owners. And so these small businesses are critical to our community. They're critical economically, of course, providing a lot of employment, providing growth in employment, providing tax revenues, all of these things. But maybe more importantly, small businesses help our community self-definition. And when we think about the businesses that are meaningful to us, we're probably thinking about the smaller businesses and the businesses that are owned here in the community. Those are the businesses that make the difference in our day-to-day lives. But basically, what I said was be prepared for disruptions in the usual way that you do business, because they're coming. I said that there really aren't any magic bullets, I don't think. SBA is going to do some direct lending, and there's some other programs out there. Had a couple of exchanges via email recently with one of our state legislators who tells me that I should watch for SB, I think it's 382. And I think it's supposedly going to come out of committee in the next couple of days. And it's an attempt by the Kansas legislature to eliminate the 1 week wait period for unemployment benefits. The United States Congress House of Representatives passed a bill Friday night, a coronavirus relief bill, still to go through the Senate. These things tend to be inadequate for small business owners. They don't tend to be direct. It's not like somebody's going to write every small business owner that $100,000 check that they would need to make payroll, make rent, pay their suppliers, pay their payables. When people stop walking through the door, like, that's real, and that happens now. So you got to be aware of that. And I think maybe my main point was one of cash flow management. This is a time to be really conscious of what you're spending money on, what you need to spend, how much you need to spend, what are the things that you could probably get away with paying a week from now instead of today. And that's just kind of a critical set of decisions that you would make in the management of your cash flow. And I think as a small business owner right now, that's really paramount.
So what would you say to, at this moment, I mean, even tonight as we're looking through Instagram, there are local restaurants that are deciding to close versus other independent restaurants making the difficult decision to stay open and just put a more serious emphasis on hygiene. So for those restaurants that are closing their doors, for those retail businesses that are closing their doors, I mean, is there any advice you can give them in terms of maintaining their identity while their physical space is closed?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, I think for some businesses, the decision to close is a decision that is consistent with their identity. I mean, you could certainly make that case, right? As a member of the community, we're making the decision to close so that we can responsibly practice social distancing, in light of what the CDC has said, and the, no gatherings over 50 people for the next 8 weeks. So I think that these are all things that most business owners should just try to do with consistency. The way that they view their role in the community. I don't think that I would try to judge a business owner that made either decision, the decision to stay up or want to close. So any of your small businesses that are watching this, one of the, I think, fears that people I have talked to today have had is, man, we can shut down, we'll figure out a way to make, rent and whatever the overhead bills are. We're really worried about our employees right now. For most business owners that I know, that's a big part of their identity. It's that they're stewards of the community, and they understand that they're stewards of the community. They're stewards of the people that work in that business, and they don't want to put them in any unnecessary or undue difficulties. So I think this SB 382, it might be 392, to eliminate that 1 week wait is something that people are watching pretty closely. Next time we talk, I hope to have had a conversation with a group of restaurateurs and some folks at the Kansas Department of Labor who run the unemployment program. So might even have some more information about that in a few days.
What action can a company owner take in terms of, I hate to say laying off staff, but relieving folks here in what hopefully is a short term? What sort of mechanisms do they even have?
A couple. There is a program in Kansas called Work Share. And so if, for example, you were a factory owner and you had to scale production back to 3 days a week, you could pay people the 3 days that they worked. And then the Kansas Work Share program through the Department of Labor would give them an unemployment benefit for the other 2, or 40% of what their unemployment benefit would have otherwise been. Always 1 week wait period. So the first week they don't get a benefit, the second week they do. Of course, regular unemployment would come into effect if you shut your business down and laid off all your employees temporarily. And there are some guidelines in place, and unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with them as I could be. But they would have first priority to get hired back and all that. But the big problem I think that business owners are dealing with today is that they're concerned that if they close the business tomorrow, lay everybody off, they don't get to claim that first week like ever. That's just a gone week. And a fairly substantial portion of Americans right now would have a difficult time coming up with $400 or $800 to cover some kind of an emergency situation. I think business owners are concerned about that. So
join us tomorrow for part 2 of our conversation with Will Katz, as the discussion revolves around how small businesses can keep their self-identity during this crisis. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, and whenever possible, keep producing.